Before we get into today's video, I wanted to give a big thanks to today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. We all know how important it is to keep your connection safe, and ExpressVPN is a great way to keep both you and your devices safe. ExpressVPN masks your IP and encrypts your internet to protect you from hackers, ensures your privacy, and sneaks you past any blocks on websites in your country by accessing a server from another country or state if you're in the US. But just as important is how many cool things you get to do with ExpressVPN. A friend of mine just moved to Japan, so ExpressVPN lets me play games with him like Minecraft, Fortnite, and Call of Duty on Japanese servers. On top of that, we all know that American Netflix doesn't always give you access to the series that you want. But with ExpressVPN, you can easily watch Netflix from any region with just a few clicks. Want to watch a show available in Canada, the UK, or even Japan? Simply click on the region you want to watch it in, and poof, you will suddenly have access to a series like Lord of the Rings, or just about any anime you could want. ExpressVPN has the fastest speed of any VPN because they invest in premium servers all over the world. It's easy to use, completely safe and secure, and it even has 24/7 live support where you will have any questions or concern answered in seconds, not hours. All of this combined to make ExpressVPN the top-rated VPN by TechRadar, CNET, The Verge, and so many others. So if you want to check out ExpressVPN, go to expressvpn.com/MysticUmbreon, and you will get your first 3 months not for half off, not even for 60% off, but absolutely free. That's 3 months of protection, access to any Netflix series, or any game server in the world with no complete security. All in the click of a mouse. So go to expressvpn.com/MysticUmbreon for this amazing offer and to support the channel. Once more, a big thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video. With that being said, let's get started. Seeing as you guys seem to enjoy the strongest Pokemon from Kanto video, I figured we should continue this series and move on to the neighboring region and my personal favorite, which is Johto. Now when we talk strong Pokemon from Johto, we can start off quite easily with the water starter of the region, Feraligatr. If we take a look at Feraligatr's hidden ability Sheer Force, we can see quite clearly why it's so good. Sheer Force increases the damage of moves done by the user by 30% at the cost of not having any secondary effects. So an example would be the stab move Waterfall, doing increased damage, but it will never cause the opponent to flinch. However, what makes this ability even better is when given the Life Orb to hold. The Life Orb increases the damage by a further 30%, but at the cost of 1/10 of the user's HP. The great thing of Sheer Force, however, is you get all the benefits of the Life Orb without any of the setbacks as long as you use a move with a secondary effect. If we take a quick look at Feraligatr in Gen 7, we can quickly make out how it's going to look in Gen 8 if it eventually is able to cross the border with DLC. So for the set used in Gen 7, we look at a Feraligatr of Sheer Force holding the Life Orb using the moves Dragon Dance, Liquidation, Crunch, and Ice Punch. This moveset can deal with most Pokemon in the UU tier where Feraligatr was roaming. There are not a whole lot of Pokemon who like to switch into a potential +1 Feraligatr with 2 30% boosts and hard-hitting stab and really good coverage, so I can't say that Gator isn't an absolute powerhouse. But being the strongest in the region is up in the air. And on the topic of starters, I wouldn't look twice over Typhlosion and Meganium as much as it pains me. They just don't stack up to the rest of the region in terms of either firepower or defensive prowess. A quick look at some of the beasts from Galar that Feraligatr can easily bring to their knees would be Pokemon like Aegislash, Cinderace, Darmanitan, Dracovish, Dragapult, Excadrill, Gengar, Hippowdon, Hydreigon, Jirachi, Komodo, Mandibuzz, and more. Gator is a vile beast, ready to rip the opposition to shreds like a real alligator. However, on the topic of firepower and defensive prowess, we can't overlook the greatest duo to come out in all of Pokemon. The lesser of two being the firepower of Espeon as a base 130 special attack and base 110 speed, psychic type with phenomenal coverage, but more importantly, we have the best Pokemon of all time, Umbreon. I mean, I couldn't make this video not talking about Umbreon, come on. But before we talk about the best, we have to assess the counterpart. Like I mentioned before, Espeon is a psychic type with 130 base special attack and 110 speed. On the topic of its coverage, we have access to moves like Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, Grass Knot, Weather Ball for Weather Team support, and of course, Psychic or Psyshock. Espeon, despite not being defensively oriented due to the stat distribution, you can still make a decently defensive Espeon with moves such as Calm Mind, Wish, Toxic, Reflect, and Light Screen. Espeon does especially well against Pokemon like Toxapex, Hydreigon, Keldeo, Conkeldurr, Terrakion, and even Togekiss to a certain extent. Espeon is super versatile and certainly a powerhouse. But on the more important side, whereas Espeon has a special attack and speed, Umbreon is defensively oriented with 130 base special defense and 110 base defense, with an incredible base 95 HP. Umbreon is not budging off of the field with access to moves like Toxic, Wish, Protect, Foul Play, or Snarl. Umbreon is not the most versatile, but you'll be using a ton of resources to bring this gorgeous cat-like creature to its knees. Umbreon will most likely bring you down before Umbreon itself falls. In terms of matchups, you will see that any Psychic type and Ghost type in front of Umbreon will most likely fall. Even Pokemon like Dragapult, Reuniclus, Gengar, Aegislash, and lest we not forget Mew, can have a hard time taking down this beast. Azumarill is a bit of a forgotten gem that I need to bring up in this section. Even if the base attack is 50, which might seem bad, and you wouldn't be wrong to assume that, Azumarill gets access to the ability Huge Power, which doubles this monster's total attack. An Adamant Belly Drum Azumarill with Aqua Jet and Play Rough is devastating for most Pokemon. Water and Fairy are incredibly scary offensive and defensive types. And not to mention that Azumarill has really good defensive stats with 100 base HP and both 80 defense and 80 special defense. If we peek at Azumarill's coverage, we see some really good moves like Superpower, Ice Punch, and Knockoff. Azumarill might look cute, but with its options, we can see it rips down pretty much anything that stands before it. Aegislash, Bisharp, Cinderace, Cloyster, Conkeldurr, Darmanitan, Dugtrio, Excadrill, even Ferrothorn needs to be careful in front of Azumarill. And that's only to mention a few. I personally really like the Citrus Berry Belly Drum set, but a Choice Band Azumarill most certainly packs a punch too, and is a bit more useful than the turn you commit to Belly Drum. But I digress, Azumarill most certainly proves that you can't judge a book by its cover. Now, I will admit Azumarill does pack quite the punch, but I do like to consider defense for strongest Pokemon because the concept of strength is on how you see it. If you can tank, then that in itself is a version of strength. And if there's a Johto Pokemon that can tank, then it's Skarmory, the original Steel Flying type. Take the next flight over, Corviknight. We might get back to you in the Galar video. With the base 140 defense, there are very few physical attacks that will bring Skarmory out of the sky. And with an incredibly versatile support moveset, we can see why Skarm has been top tier for so long. Hazard stacking like Stealth Rocks and Spikes, Utility and Defog, Recovery and Roost. Brave Bird is a strong stab option, off of the base 80 attack stat, which isn't terrible either. Iron Head as another stab option is just okay too. With moves like Toxic and Tailwind, Skarmory proves it's one of the greatest support Pokemon and shows that no physical attacker will bring it down. And even if you get a sneaky one on Skarmory, it packs the Sturdy ability, which says that if Skarmory was at full HP when it was hit, that HP will not drop below 1. Holding a Rocky Helmet to punish the improved Rapid Spin for this gen is also something Skarmory can do very well. But alas, it is another Johto gem stuck at the border, waiting for the glorious DLC to save it. I'm sure when you think of a strong Pokemon from Johto, one of the first that comes to mind is the Red Bug Demon himself. Scyther with a metal coat and traded over gives us one of the most sleek designed Pokemon and most deadly on teams. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Scizor. Let's take a quick peek at some stats and moves to see what this bug brings to the table. With base 130 attack and the ability Technician, which boosts moves with less than 60 power by 50%, it's pretty freaking crazy to see the kind of power that Scizor can do. Just ask Stab Bullet Punch and you'll find out why. And to top that, we have moves like Swords Dance and Roost for setup, Bullet Punch like I mentioned before, Knockoff, X-Scissor or U-Turn for either strong stab or momentum, and Superpower to deal with some top tier threats. Unfortunately, a lot of the Johto decks is still missing in Galar, and I really hope Scizor can make it into Galar so that I can once again abuse this incredible red Scythe of Death for competitive play. Especially now with Hidden Power gone, so you won't be sniped out of a cheeky Hidden Power Fire where you wouldn't expect it. Although a lot of Pokemon in Gen 8 have obtained Mystical Fire, but that's something you can look out for. Scizor is most certainly one of the greatest and strongest Pokemon from Johto, and I would even go more in depth if we could include the phenomenal extra power of Mega Scizor. But unfortunately, that was left behind with its last appearance in Gen 7. Scizor has a great matchup against this new meta. Clefable Drops, Dugtrio, Excadrill, Gengar, Grimmsnarl, Hatterene, Hydreigon, Kyurem, Mew, Mimikyu, Sylveon, Terrakion, Togekiss, and Tyranitar. As you can see, Scizor would make for a great showing if it manages across the border. Now we discuss as much as we want, and that's well and good. But the answer to the strongest Pokemon from Johto is quite simple. Tyranitar has been proving itself over and over again. Support of Sandstream? Check. Incredible stats in the base total of 600? Check. An incredibly versatile move pool? Definite check. Tyranitar has pretty much everything going for it except for the 4x weakness to fighting. But even then, and that fighting move isn't stab, it's not guaranteed to bring this Godzilla-like Titan down. If we look over at the Smogon OU sets real quick, we see the two most popular Tyranitars right now are a Choice Band Tyranitar of Stone Edge and Crunch for stab, and Earthquake and Fire Punch for coverage, which helps deal with a whole bunch of Pokemon. Most OU Pokemon are weak to one of those 4 types, which just solidifies how strong Tyranitar is. And while holding the Choice Band, Tyranitar has an adamant nature to make sure it hits as hard as possible, and 252 EVs in attack and speed, with the last 4 in special special defense. The other set is a Stealth Rock support set with either leftovers for passive or Shed Shell to avoid that dang freaking arena trap that keeps coming back to OU before it gets suspect tested and banished back to Ubers. Dugtrio most certainly loses some viability if it loses arena trap, but that's how it is. Anyway, back to the Stealth Rock Tyranitar set. As you can guess, the first move is Stealth Rock, setting up an entry hazard to stack up some good damage and preventing common switch-ins, which allows Tyranitar's teammates to easier pick off their checks and go for a clean sweep. The last three moves are similar to the Choice Band version, with Stone Edge and Crunch for stab, and keeping Fire Punch as a final coverage move for Ferrothorn and Corviknight, seeing as it can both be quite tedious for Tyranitar to deal with. The EVs are spread with 100 in HP, 252 in attack, and the last 156 in speed, and an adamant nature just to make sure Tyranitar can pack as much of a punch as possible. The 157 speed allows you to outspeed uninvested base 80 speed users such as Mandibuzz and Togekiss, smacking them with a deadly Stone Edge, which also has a high chance to crit. You're sending them packing before they even knew what hit them. Now if we take a look at some other move options you can use Tyranitar for, we have Aqua Tail, Dragon Claw, or Dragon Tail, Ice Fang, Ice Punch, and Iron Head. An oldie but a goldie was MysticSage from Generation 6, which had a lot of special moves like Fire Blast, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Focus Blast, Thunderbolt, and Surf. Tyranitar disproves how versatile, powerful, defensive, and just strong in general it is. Pair it up with a solid fighting check, and you'll be getting tons of victories with this beast. Well, that wraps up the strongest Pokemon from Johto. I think Tyranitar was kind of the obvious choice, but hey, it was fun nonetheless. Do you agree or disagree though? Let me know down below. Also leave what your favorite Johto Pokemon is in the comments below as well. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on MysticSage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weez Austin, Sodden Grider, Nigma97, and Kermit117 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticSage Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.